This is So What Who Cares with Laura McCarville and me, Jeff Kolaski. Join us as we explore practical insights for an impractical mind.
Okay, so we've named what shadow is
and golden shadow.
And some of the things that sort of entails through the lens of.
Can I pause for a second? I just want to say like how resistant I was to the golden shadow. It took me so if anyone's listening and they're like, I don't really get that, or I don't really understand what you're saying. Like, I really want to say, like, I too resisted this idea that I was withholding my own brilliance, power, dynamic sensuality, that that those parts of myself.
To me, that's the easiest part of this to embrace.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
sign me up where I'm like,
where
where am I messed up? I want to, I can get to know that. Oh, you're telling me my shoes are too tight?
Right.
I don't think that's true,
Yeah.
So that's more of my resistance.
Sure. Interesting. Yeah, when you started last episode, when you started talking about the golden shadow, that to me is like, oh, that makes so much sense, because there's going to be things that we repress based on what others think or what others have taught us or what others believe or think they believe or whatever it may be. And so, yeah, I should find those things, and that might be really good for me. Being the shy little boy might not be the right approach. Let's have some confidence. Maybe I was suppressing that confidence for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it is good for me to do that. And no, that doesn't make me a selfish, egotistical narcissist. No, because I'm not portraying narcissistic personality stuff.
No,
it's not one or the other. So to me, that's
I'm
really
thrilled
exciting.
for you on that, because I think you're speaking to what a lot of people have the experience of when they're like big, bright kiddos, and then they're told they're being too boastful or they're too much, or to tamper that down, or to show all that stuff. And then we carry that. And what you're saying now is like, hey, I can bring forward some confidence. I can bring forward this. And why it can come forward now is because it's safe to do so.
Right.
Because you're no longer a child. And we still do run the risk when we start to bring forth our shadow stuff of maybe not being in the family dynamic that we were casted into, maybe not fitting into the family culture that we were brought up in.
Well,
like,
and maybe and possibly not fitting into, we say this is all coming from a place of privilege too, where we are two white people in the middle of America, so there are certain privileges, if there's certain, whether it's in the timeline or in the world, where if we were to come forward with some of the things that really make us, it could put us in a bad situation.
Tell me what you mean, so I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking like, and I'm not really good with a lot of the a lot of the political dynamics, religion and things like that. But like, there are parts of the world where if I'm a woman and I come forward and show my confidence and my ambition and all that, I could be shunned.
It's like not safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or, if I go and show how truly confident and ambitious I am, or if I move away from like a religious belief or something, it could cast me out or make things unsafe. So that's just what I mean. We do have the
being a heterosexual, cisgender, white, female, male. Yes. 1000%. We're
just noticing
even
that,
us
just
being so like, we should like looking at our stuff that we have time to do that is
right, that we're
privilege.
Doing this right now is
right.
A privilege,
It's all ridiculous.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And here we are trying to contribute to the human experience, this thing that we're doing.
Yep.
So So, and I just had a thought that I find it interesting
Okay.
that when you were talking about bringing forth your golden shadow, this part of you that's like, maybe I can be a little more confident, that you're like, and now I'm going to choose the time to talk about how that may be. Do you get what are you tracking with me on the timing of I've got a lot of privilege and maybe there's that
Are you saying I pedal a little?
I'm not saying you backpedaled. I just find it very curious
Mm.
that that would be the time that was like, whoa, whoa. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
And we needed to say that. And that was the right thing to say. I just, on myself,
Uh-huh.
when I bring forward some stuff, I usually has like, "Er,"
Oh,
steady
like,
jerks. Like there's a
yeah,
little
yeah.
like,
I'm tracking now. I I came forward with something that,
it was like, maybe I can be a
yeah,
little more confident.
but but let's keep myself in check here.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, I feel you. Yeah,
So
that is
even
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then that's all, like, "Oh,
yeah,
I wonder if I have a habit of, like, being like, yeah, hell yeah, I did that.' Well, I mean, da 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 da,'
right.
then downplaying
But
it,
let's not get so confident that I come across as, yeah,
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 cocky or
yep.
yeah. Mhm.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's just a thought. It's not even a thought. It maybe it's
Just an
just a
observation. Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
just there it is. And that's how and I'm not doing that to like I'm doing it more for people who are listening in and our
Mm-hmm.
own. This is why I can't say it enough. Like you've got to be with people. We've
Mm-hmm.
got to be in community and
Because I would have
having
never seen something like that.
no. And I'm so lucky I have friends and that catch my patterns
Mm-hmm.
and even have called me forward to that
Right.
awareness or my partner has been like like I'm so but had I not if I sit in my
Mm-hmm.
own little space
Yeah. There's no
and no one can see it
there's no growth there.
well
Well,
there's
there may not the same.
not in
Right.
this arena like you can't do shadow work by yourself
Hmm.
meaning like alone, all by yourself with no
Right.
we're never by ourselves, the pure nature of it. But like I have a lot of people around. I know a lot of people who tend to isolate around this stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and I get it because it's like fear and shamey, and it's
Shame.
why
Yeah.
it went into the shadows, as it wasn't
Right.
safe to exist in the first place.
Yeah.
So
So there has to be a certain level of trust with.
but can you find a
Yeah.
few, maybe
Right.
a few people you can lean into seeing some of this stuff with and in a loving way, not in a hierarchical way, not in
Mm-hmm.
that icky, you're not doing your shadow work way, which
Mm-hmm.
I've been in those
Yeah.
dynamics before and they're not cool. Um,
So let's go back a little bit and just reiterate again, because
yes.
what is shadow work? So
Okay.
we know what shadow is, or at least we have a little bit better understanding of it. Working on that. Is it just to not just again, I use the word just on accident a lot because
That's okay.
I I'm not trying to belittle anything.
Yeah.
Is it to be aware of it and just integrate it? Is that what shadow work is? Because if that's quote unquote, if that's it, how do I do that? There's something telling me there's more to it than that.
Yeah. I mean, so that we're all like working with shared language
Yeah.
in this way. So shadow is the disowned parts of ourself, the things that make us uncomfortable when we look at, and that's golden shadow.
Hmm.
That's that matter. And
Yeah.
it's all the energy, it's personality, it's experiences, it's all that stuff.
Hmm.
What shadow work, and I do air quotes around it because of how it's overused, but
Yeah.
what
The beaver
shadow
word.
right, it's a beaver word.
Mhm.
What that is when this stuff comes into our awareness, how do we tend to it through a compassionate lens or through an honest lens in the way of in connection with others,
Sure.
like through a therapist, a friend, a
Mm-hmm.
partner. And how do we stay with it long enough that the essence of you comes more forward, that
Okay.
more of Jeff is here?
Yeah.
So that might look like dream analysis. It might look like journal prompting.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what does that look like?
Journal prompting, that like free writing where you write and write and write, looking at patterns like, oh, so now there's this pattern that may be here of when I start to kind of feel myself, as my little kids say, you're feeling yourself, then do I tamper down? Oh, there's that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I'm feeling really uncomfortable letting myself kind of be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So those are other things. Looking at habits, patterns, saying to, can I keep using you as an example?
Please, yeah.
Saying to Nikki, hey, have you seen this pattern? Could you support me? Like when I'm bringing forth some of my confidence and you see me kind of tamper, could you be like, babe, you're doing that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and we have to remember the reason why is so that the soul, the essence, this thing that animates you is going to be expressed.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at like depression, I think when we don't, especially like we really start to see it in like that mid 30s range in people, that's when that investigation gets really curious of like, this thing has to come through, or I'm pressing down
Mm-hmm.
on my psyche and it
That's work.
pops out sideways.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll numb it away. I'll disempower. I'll use other, sex, drugs, rock and roll. I'll do all the
Mm-hmm.
things to make the thing not come forward because I'm so uncomfortable feeling confident
Mm-hmm.
because of what, mommy told me when I was little and being too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's what your
No,
mom
yeah.
did, but this is why we do the shadow work. So what else could we do?
I know the answer to this because I
Okay.
saw it happen last episode
Oh,
in real time. But shadow work does not always have to be super dramatic or like cathartic or anything like that. Right?
right. That's at some point I said, like, I see it being weaponized a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the weaponization of it. Like when
Because,
people are using it in the way of like power dynamics to
or to
keep
shame
you.
you, like
Yes. And,
you're not doing your shadow work, are
right.
you?
And to control. I mean, cults,
Uh-huh.
tons of,
Yeah,
language around like shadow work and keeping people stuck in their like despair and
Mm-hmm.
stuck in their trauma. So it doesn't have to be reliving your trauma
Mm-hmm.
to do shadow work. And it doesn't
And
even have to be like all day you need to be doing
right.
it.
You brought up reliving your trauma. Is that because, so it's not necessarily trauma that puts something into the shadow, but a lot of times trauma can result in that.
Okay, so it's not
Am I barking up a weird
always,
tree here?
you're not.
Okay.
It's not always trauma that it gets put into the shadowy
Yes.
parts, right? And
And
a lot of drama or trauma
Mhm.
can occur when those shadowy parts are at play and you're
Mhm.
not conscious of it.
and
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 this is why we want to bring them forward.
and trauma can also be a cause of something moving too.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And a belief, like something happens to a little kid and then they create a belief.
Mhm.
Event happens, they create a belief. That belief moves apart into the shadow.
Kid gets abused in a horrible way. Now they're repressing their sexuality because that abuse happened. And correct?
Yes, so the
Okay.
repression is now in the shadow
Okay.
realms.
Yeah.
and then as they grow up, that stuff could, not always, but it can come out sideways.
Right.
Our shit does.
Yeah.
And then we're
Daddy
left
issues.
like, oh, doing some
Right.
harm. Right. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So what is shadow work?
Mhm.
It's many, many, many
I like how
things.
that was the first question we asked for this, and now we're still asking it.
And how do we do shadow work?
Uh-huh.
I love the language of like mapping the shadow versus work. You know how I feel about like, are you doing the work,
Yeah.
trauma work of this like
Yeah.
heavy load we've got to carry around and we have no access to our vitality?
Do
And
you think that plays into it all, that you were raised as someone who has to be working hands dirty, avoid the femininity in yourself? Is that why you hate that so much? Do you think there's any tie
yeah,
there?
it's a valid
Just
question.
curious.
No, it is in part that I mean I do work hard.
Absolutely.
I know that I have that but I do have this like I love that you asked. Will you ask me again so I can sit with it?
Yeah. I was just curious. So
Uh-huh.
often in our episodes, you mention how you have a dislike for the words "got to do the work, got to put in the
Okay,
work,"
no, I know why.
because work is heavy and all that. And my question to you is just, you mentioned in this sitting that you were brought up in a way that the right thing to do is to work hard, put your hands in the dirt and work hard and physically work hard. And now you have sort of an aversion to that language. I wonder if there was a correlation
Yeah,
at all.
it's really valid. So it's interesting. The reason I have an aversion happens to do with um some of the a mentor that ended up being less of a mentor and more of a cult leader. And so I found myself in a dynamic in yoga training and being part of the yoga community. She's no longer in the yoga community. She's no longer here functioning like that. However, that word was used a lot to keep me in a place of being controlled both financially and emotionally. So I was constantly being told I wasn't doing my work. However, there's a strong chance because I feel because value and work go so tightly in my
Yeah.
community and I was raised in my family dynamic that I could have been a little bit
Sensitive to that.
sensitive to that kind of
Language.
yeah, exactly. Like she knew exactly the language to use on me that would work to keep me in that place. And that's
Yeah.
why I don't like the word work.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
why I'm so sensitive to it because then I was around so many people that it was
Yeah.
being that's that weaponizing of
Yeah.
psych, but that's my direct experience, but I see a lot of weaponizing of
Yeah.
psychology and TikTok psychology being used all the time,
Yeah. Well, and there's something so off-putting about us either assuming, accusing, or um, that somebody's not working hard or doing work, or that everything that we do should be such a heavy struggle,
Yeah.
Like, so, and that's, I think, why I asked, like, can it be quiet? Can this work be even joyful? Which I believe it can, because even, sitting here when you said, "Oh, I just realized this, that, and the other," and you kind of lit up a little bit, like,
I
that's
love
kind
a
of
good
joyful.
aha.
Yeah.
I love when I get onto myself like
Yeah.
that. I'm like, but that took a lot of practice
True.
and time and therapy and curiosity. Like it took something to be here at 49 and to be able to say like, oh, I mean, and trust me that my sisters listened to this and my brother-in-law, and there was
Hi,
this
guys.
I know, shout out. So there was a little part of me that was like, oh, I hope their feelings aren't hurt, and I hope, but that's the thing, like that I have to work with myself on is they don't want to be in relationship with me in that dynamic.
Right.
They want me to be me. And so I've had to coach or work on the internal dialogue to be able to have a little bit of aha, a little bit of like, oh, that's exciting.
Right.
There's that again
Because
right now.
for a lot of people, and I'm not excluding myself here, I'm with you. I do like self discovery and things like that. And I've been in a place where I don't like that.
Yes.
And there are certain things that come up that do feel like, oh, no, not touching that, you know.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And so there, my point being that there is a lot of people that don't get like joy or energy from that, or they're not at a place where that does, it's terrifying.
Okay, so I would say if we could look at it, yes, but that could be one, the approach. And you and I obviously could spend a lot of time in this content and working with this. But maybe someone, if they were to spend like a few minutes, just a little bit of inquiry, just a little bit, they would actually find more freedom. They would actually get to be more themselves.
Right.
And so it's, they're looking at maybe how I do it and they say, well, I can't do it like Laura does it. She talks for hours. I don't have hours. I'm not doing this work at all.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it
Yeah.
like this.
Everything is not one thing.
Right. So
One
maybe
thing is
just do it a little
right.
with some curiosity and some lightness so you can be more free.
So what are, for someone who maybe their algorithm looks a lot like mine and they're not real familiar with, this is new to them.
Yes.
Listening to Jeff and Laura talking shadows. Welcome to the Shadows with Jeff and Laura. This is what their first maybe experience, or one of the first times they've really thought about it. What are some things, small probably to start, ways that people can start to explore this and, yeah. And should they do
Yeah.
it by themselves? Should they reach out to somebody?
Yeah. So I would say just start, and not just, but start with pattern recognition. Notice some patterns or have someone close to you with permission given, and maybe even a little framework of like some kindness of like, I need you to be honest. Have you caught some of these patterns, or have you noticed a pattern
Right.
with me? Or could you help me see some patterns here? And then that's where I'd start. And then maybe you go into connection, community, into groups, into, I work with people one on one. And I'm not even saying therapy. Because a lot of times we'll go, oh, I've got this thing, I'm going to go to therapy. And then you spend all this time talking about what's happened and what put this thing into the shadow. We never really get to like the exciting
Yeah.
part of the behavior, or the pattern that has emerged. But then I would say, could you grow just a little bit of tolerance or distress tolerance? That would be like, can you be with that, like, ooh, that sensation of like EBGB, uncomfortable, and just kind of let it sit there with some kind-heartedness, right?
Right.
Meditation practices. There's a meditation studio here that the name is escaping me.
Where does journaling fit into all this? You mentioned
Well,
it a little bit. Could that be
yeah,
helpful for
I
a
think a
beginner?
lot of people find insight to journaling, especially the free writing,
Yeah.
when they are just free writing, and then you get to look back and be like,
What stands out here?
what stands out? Yeah.
Hmm.
And every person I've worked with in my one-on-one practice, when we do what we do is more active imagination. So my friend said, one of my clients slash friends said, because same, she said, it's like I get to have a psychedelic experience without having psychedelics in active imagination, or this way in which we move into awareness. Every person I've worked with leaves with more, even when it's like, ooh, that's some shadowy bits right there. They leave with more access to self energy.
Active imagination. What does that look like?
Well, okay, we're back at young. So active
Okay.
imagination is
Good
young,
old
but
Carl.
good old Carl. And that's, he didn't do a ton of leaving behind, but there are people who have done a good job. So I use more of a because of being a certified hypnotherapist, I can go into a little, or yoga nidra state, or that deeper kind of liminal space. And we use our imagination to access some of this shadowy material. But it's not scary. Okay, can I give an example of
Please
when
do.
someone did
Yeah.
active imagination with me? It kind of sounds like guided meditation, but there's space for your own imagination inside that liminal realm to sort of access the shadow. So I was running had been running into like my office stuff being everywhere. Like and Nathan being like, "Hey, so we got an office and we could like do a desk." And I was like, "I don't do desks." I'm and I had all these excuses and reasons, like I'm a creative, and I had this like way of functioning with, and I still have like 15 books on everywhere, but it was like paperwork everywhere. And I was like, this is getting to be a pattern, maybe not serving. So I did active imagination around this. And when I went into the shadow around the disorganization, out of my imagination popped this stapler. And quickly I had this memory of my dad being furious because I had touched his stapler. There was a big rule in his house.
Okay.
No one touched the desk.
Yep.
No one touches the desk.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I used a stapler, and there was a lot of raging about this.
Okay.
So my response to that was, now I wasn't aware. As soon as I saw the stapler, I was like, oh, so all of my chaos has been in a direct relationship to that belief of you either are rigid and angry and you have to manage your farm. And my dad's a successful business owner and farmer rancher, like has to be done like that, or it has to be complete chaos. And it's still not Lora, right? Yeah. So in my active imagination, in that guidance, then it came back through. And when I came back into this room in my imagination, I added me, and in the way of like, well, how do I want to do my business? How do I want to do my paperwork? How do I want to engage financially? And I am not here, not my conscious mind, but the imagination was like streamers, pink streamers. And it became this like funfetti thing. And now when I go to do my office work, which is way more contained, I do it like I'll pull a tarot card. I'll sit down, I'll imagine the pink streamers, and I get my work done in an organized way,
not rigid,
not
but
rigid,
organized,
not in fear of moving a stapler and getting in trouble, but in a really relaxed, effective, I have more access, and I'm not feeling overwhelmed. I'm easier invoicing. I'm easier getting things done. It's like my business has, since doing this work with someone in the last 3 months, has become
better.
more effective.
Wow.
Because I'm not.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Very much so. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So all that being said, it's not about eliminating. It's not about rejecting. It's about bringing it to the light.
Yeah. Learning
to live with and around it. Maybe even becoming a little bit friendly with some of it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. The awareness of, oh yeah, that's a belief that, and it's not even like my dad's not on the hook for this anymore.
Yeah, right.
Like the belief is the one I'm carrying, which is to have a business, you have to be rigid and angry.
Right.
So instead, I'm going to be footloose and fancy free and maybe forget to invoice people,
Right.
but at least I'm not yelling,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. Just like divorce doesn't equal misery.
Right.
Right.
Right. That inherited belief.
Yeah. And ultimately, we try to let the shadow drive the bus a little bit less.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Let Lora drive.
Well, what wants to come through
Right.
me?
The traveler does not flee the fog tonight. He sits still, hand on the oar, watching the shape across the water. It doesn't lunge, it doesn't growl, and the traveler, breathing slower now, offers the smallest nod. Not of fear, but of recognition. For in the quiet of that moment, he understood the shadow isn't the enemy. It's the invitation. The shadow knows.